Hi guys, Mr. Pease here. Welcome to week 12, lesson 3. And we're still focusing on the two texts, The Paradise Carpet by Jamila Gavin and the Guardian article, Children as Young as 8 Pick Coffee Beans on Farm Supplying Starbucks from the Guardian on the 1st of March of this year, 2020. We're moving on from just introducing the ideas in a text to beginning to explore some evidence from each text in a little bit more detail by using a what, how, why structure. Okay, so we're going to answer this question using some evidence from the text. How do both writers explore the social injustice of child labour? Okay, I'm not going to read each text to you today. We're going to get straight on with it, okay? But what I do have, and so therefore you can pause the video when looking for your evidence, are the extracts we looked at last time. If you wanted to go back to look at the full copies of the text itself, you need to look back through your Show My Homework pieces, but I will aim to also include the full text of each text, so you could choose your evidence from anywhere in them on Show My Homework for today's lesson. Okay, text A extract, text B extract, but also you can use any evidence from the full text, and by evidence I mean words from the text itself. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to answer that big question: how do both writers explore the social injustice of child labour? And how we're going to structure it is I'm going to model writing a paragraph in response to some evidence from the Paradise Carpet. And then what I want you to do after that is to write your own paragraph in response to some evidence. And you can either choose a different bit of evidence from the Paradise Carpet, or you could use a bit of evidence from the Guardian article. So, I've chosen this evidence because I think it's a really effective use of contrast. It's where Ishwa is looking outside. He longed to leap up and charge into the daylight and play, play, play. He had almost forgotten what the outside was like. Since then, he had worked behind a loom in the dark, airless mud hut. What I'm going to try and explain in my paragraph is what I can infer from the whole quote. How Gavin has used one particular word to create meaning, and then why she included this line in relation to her intentions as an author, thinking about social injustice. Okay, so let's show you how I'd go about it. So that's my quote. So how I explore the what, how I get that kind of what explored in a bit of. So the what part, what I can infer from the whole line. In the Paradise Carpet, the writer Gavin zooms in to focus on Ishwa desiring for a different life, free of the shackles of poverty, when she states, he longed to leap up and charge into the daylight and play, play, play. He had almost forgotten what the outside was like. Since then, he had worked behind a loom in the dark, airless mud hut, leading the reader to infer that Ishwa not only have the strong desire to live an innocent and free childhood, but also that his hopes for this freedom are fading. I'm now moving on to the how the writers use one particular word and why they've used it. In particular, Gavin's repetition of the word play conveys a sense of joy and fun. Childhood should be a time of carefree joy and enthusiasm, and play suggests Gavin believed this too. Then my next step, guys, is to say why the writer has included this detail in their story, and how does it relate to their big ideas, the ideas about social injustice that Gavin is exploring. Gavin is perhaps suggesting that the child labour Ishwa and many other children are forced to complete is an appalling social injustice that destroys the childhoods and lives of the poor. I could have gone into more detail, but I'm giving you a sense of how we build up our argument. We say what the whole line, what we can infer from that, what we think about that, what we think's going on there. Then we zoom in a particular word and consider its importance in that whole line. At the end, we begin to think about why might the writer have included that detail in the story at all? What is their bigger point that they want to make? Okay, so it's over to you. What I'd like you to do is choose some evidence from either the Paradise Carpet or the Guardian article and use my example to write a paragraph about it. Try to explain what you can infer from the whole evidence. And I've given you a sentence parameter here, or like a bit of a writing frame. You don't have to use it. You can use your own thing, as long as you focus on covering the what, the how, and the why. Okay? but you might want to start in whatever the text is you're focusing on. The writer focuses on whatever they're focusing on when they state, and that's where you have your evidence from the text. Leading the reader to infer that is a good phrase to help you explore and explain what the whole line shows or conveys. The how part is next, and that's how the writer has used one particular word to create meaning. A good way of opening that part is to say, in particular, comma, the word bring, a word from the evidence, is effective because. And then after that, you focus on the why the writer included this evidence in relation to their intentions as an author. And another way of thinking of that is, what's the big idea they're trying to explore and express? You could start that sentence with, the writer is perhaps suggesting. Okay, so what I suggest you do now is I suggest you pause the video and have a go at writing your own. Please, of course, feel free to flick back through the other slides, particularly in the example paragraph, as a way to consider how to structure your response. All right. If you manage to do all that easily within the 30 minutes, why not do this, the additional task here? Big ideas. What other examples of social injustice can you think of that A, happened historically, so in the past, and B, are still happening now? It could be a difference. Some things have changed in society where certain social injustices no longer exist, but sadly, certain social injustices still exist now. Okay? Alright guys, teachers, look forward to seeing your work. Well done. Take care. See you tomorrow.